Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. UFC 267 is this Saturday. I am so excited for this card. I mean, the main card is just so good. The main event is Yamblochovic defending his light heavyweight title against Glover Teixeira, and this video is going to be my full breakdown and prediction for that fight. Now, I've already done a bunch of other UFC 267 prediction videos. I'll link them in the description if you guys want to go check those out after this. But do me a favor, if you guys enjoy these prediction videos, make sure to like the video. It really helps grow the channel. So if you look at the tail of the tape, Yamblochovic is 38 years old. Glover Teixeira is technically 41, but he will be 42 by the time the fight comes around. His birthday is this week. Yamblochovic is 6'2". Glover Teixeira is 6'2" as well. Yamblochovic has a 78-inch reach, while Glover Teixeira has a 76-inch reach. So if you look at Glover Teixeira, he has been around forever. I mean, he's been fighting since 2002. That is just absolutely incredible. 19-year MMA career. And I remember when he first entered into the UFC, and his UFC debut was against Kyle Kingsbury, and he just wrecked him. And I remember thinking, man, I was all on the Glover Teixeira hype train after that destruction. I know a win over Kyle Kingsbury wasn't all that great, but just the way he did it, I was like, this guy can really do something at light heavyweight. That was all the way back in 2012. Now, after that, he went on a bit of a winning streak, and he got a title shot against John Jones at UFC 172 in 2014. And I really wanted to talk about this fight because, first off, I was at this fight live. I watched John Jones, Glover Teixeira in 2014, and it's just crazy to see the longevity of Glover Teixeira's career. To get a title shot way back, 7 years ago, over 7 years ago, because it was in April of 2014. And then somehow, he had ups, he had downs. He finds his way back to a title fight all the way in 2021. And that is incredible. And if you look over his resume, after the loss to John Jones, he lost to Phil Davis. Then he strung together two wins, one against OSP, one against Patrick Cummings, and actually three wins because it one against Rashad Evans. Then he got brutally KO'd by Anthony Rumble Johnson. I'll never forget the mouthpiece flying out of his mouth. I think it was an uppercut that caught him. I don't remember exactly. Brutal KO, and I was thinking, I wonder if this is going to be the end of Glover Teixeira because he was already kind of up there in age, and then Anthony Rumble Johnson just, I mean, I thought he might have took his soul at that point. That brutal KO, I just couldn't get over it. Then he got a win over Jared Cannonier. Then he fought Alexander Gustafsson back in 2017. And I mean, I'll never forget those combinations that Gustafsson was throwing in that fight. It was like that uppercut over and over and over again. He finishes Glover Teixeira. And at that point now, he's lost 4 fights within the UFC over the course of a couple years since his title shot. And I was like, okay, this is pretty much the end of Glover Teixeira. He'll stick around for a little bit longer, and then eventually, he'll be irrelevant or, retire from MMA. Well, he goes on after the Alexander Gustafsson loss. He beats Misa Shakurov. Then he goes on to lose to Corey Anderson by decision. And now he is currently on a 5-fight win streak. And the last few fights have been very impressive. So on this 5-fight win streak, Carl Robertson, Ion Cutelaba, Nikita Krylov. Nikita Krylov was a split decision win. It wasn't that great of a fight. But then he beats Anthony Smith, TKO's Anthony Smith. And in that Anthony Smith fight, I mean, I was begging for Anthony Smith's corner to throw in the towel. Glover Teixeira took him down and absolutely wrecked him. It was a brutal destruction. It went all the way to the 5th round before it was finally stopped. And it was just, an overall beatdown. Anthony Smith is one of the toughest light heavyweights out there. For Glover Teixeira not only to brutally beat him down, to stop him as well, impressive performance. Then he goes out there against Thiago Santos, and this was his last fight. That was in November of 2020. And Thiago Santos, I believe this was his first fight after the loss to John Jones. And people are very high on Thiago Santos, and I'm still high on Thiago Santos. Just coming off a win over Johnny Walker, he was on a little bit of a losing streak after the John Jones loss. But he comes into that fight, and Glover Teixeira gets rocked terribly early on. Thiago Santos goes for the finish, looks for huge ground and pound, and Glover Teixeira survives and eventually ends up getting Thiago Santos down in the 3rd round and submitting him via rear naked choke. And you look around at the light heavyweight division, and he was the most deserving of the next light heavyweight title shot. And that's kind of how we got here. So if you look over at Yamblochovic, and it's just crazy, because both of these guys, I mean, the longevity of their careers and the career resurgence that they've had is just incredible. At one point in time, Yamblochovic made his debut in the UFC in 2014, and at one point in time, he was 2-4, won 2 fights, lost 4 fights, in his first 6 fights within the UFC. And who would have thought, just looking at that UFC record, can he make his way to a title shot, let alone to become champion? He beat Ilir Latifi in his debut, then lost to Jimmy Manawa. Isn't that crazy? Yamblochovic, the light heavyweight champion, has a loss to Jimmy Manawa. Lost to Corey Anderson by decision. Then you go up to more notable names. He lost to Alexander Gustafsson. He lost to Patrick Cummings. If you don't remember Patrick Cummings, that's the guy who came in on short notice. He was working at a coffee shop and he fought DC. Then after that, he reeled off wins against Devin Clark, Jared Cannonier, Jimmy Manawa in a rematch, Nikita Krylov. And then he lost to Thiago Santos. And if I remember that fight correctly, Yamblochovic was winning that fight, and he got caught with a punch in the late third round and got finished with ground and pound brutally. Now, since that Thiago Santos loss, which was back in February of 2019, so it really wasn't that long ago, a little over 2 years ago, he's gone on a 5-fight win streak, and one of those fights was capturing the light heavyweight belt. So he KO'd Luke Rockhold, and for those of you who don't remember, in that Luke Rockhold fight that was at UFC 239, July of 2019, people thought, Luke Rockhold had just moved up to 205, and people thought, oh, they gave Luke Rockhold an easy opponent so he can make his way to a title shot against John Jones, because John Jones was kind of looking for contenders at that point in time. There wasn't a lot of emerging talent. They tried with Chris Weidman, Jacare Souza, and now Luke Rockhold, all former middleweights moving up to 205, looking to kind of set up a title shot with John Jones. And people were actually complaining that Luke Rockhold was getting too easy of a fight. I remember this. And he goes out there and starches Luke Rockhold. And I could not, what a brutal KO. Then he goes out there and beats Jacare Souza by split decision. Again, another 185er who moved up, was looking to kind of make his way towards a title shot. And of course, Yamblochovic beats him. Not a super impressive win. Then he goes out there and brutally KOs Corey Anderson. Now, I'll never forget it. Caught him with a right hand, dropped him just out cold. John Jones was in the crowd taunting Yamblochovic, and it looked like it was going to be Yamblochovic versus John Jones. Well, we all know what happened with John Jones, and John Jones decided to, vacate the belt or whatever, and he was going to move to heavyweight. He still hasn't fought at heavyweight. So the UFC decided to do Yamblochovic versus Dominic Reyes for the light heavyweight title. And this was Yamblochovic's most impressive performance at the time, because Dominic Reyes, that fight against John Jones was razor close. People very high on Dominic Reyes, super athletic. And I actually picked Dominic Reyes in this fight. I thought Dominic Reyes was just too fast, too athletic, too strong. And I thought he was going to beat Yamblochovic, and I thought he'd probably finish him. Yamblochovic just went out there and worked him over, brutalized his ribs with body kicks, beat him up, busted up his nose, and eventually finishes him in the second round. He captures the undisputed light heavyweight title. And then we know what happened after that. I think it was on the same card. Israel Adesanya fought Paulo Costa. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it was. And Israel Adesanya said, you know what? I'm going to move up to light heavyweight and challenge Yamblochovic for the light heavyweight title. And I really, truly believe, I didn't have a YouTube channel at this time, but I truly believe Adesanya was almost cherry-picking his opportunity. I thought, he thinks Yamblochovic is as easy as it's ever going to get at 205, and I'm going to move up and look for my opportunity to become a double champion against Yamblochovic. And I actually, after the Dominic Reyes fight, I was all on board the Yamblochovic train, 100%. I could not doubt him again after that Dominic Reyes performance, and I picked him to beat Israel Adesanya, and I thought he was going to beat him pretty, handedly. I was pretty confident that Yamblochovic was going to beat Israel Adesanya. And in that fight, that was March of this year, UFC 259, in that fight, the commentary was super biased, in my opinion. Yamblochovic worked him over. I don't remember which rounds I scored, but I think I had Yamblochovic like 4 rounds or maybe even 5 rounds. His ability to mix up the striking, to mix the striking in with the grappling and control Adesanya on the ground. It was a super impressive performance by Yamblochovic to beat what many people consider, one of the greatest middleweights of all time. Israel Adesanya gets a lot of hype. He still has some work to do. if he wants to be the GOAT of middleweight, especially with Anderson Silva out there. But people are really high on Adesanya, and Adesanya's looked good since then. And Yamblochovic went in there and won, and there was absolutely no controversy. So now we're getting the undoubted number one contender, Glover Teixeira. It's an open and shut case. He deserves this shot. Some people thought he might get passed over just because of his age and his name against Yamblochovic for the light heavyweight title, and I cannot wait for this fight. So my official prediction in this fight, I have to go with Yamblochovic, and I'm going to go with Yamblochovic by second round TKO. And the reason I'm picking Yamblochovic, you look at his fights, he's very patient. He has a high fight IQ. He picks his shots. Glover Teixeira has been KO'd multiple times. I think he's been KO'd 3 times in his career. And when he fought Rumble Johnson, Gustafsson, I can't remember the other ones. And I just think Yamblochovic has that Polish power, the legendary Polish power as he calls it. And he's just been putting guys to sleep. I know he didn't finish Adesanya, but he finished Dominic Reyes, finished Corey Anderson, finished Luke Rockhold. I know Luke Rockhold's chinny as anything, but still. And Glover Teixeira, I think he was hurt in the Anthony Smith fight. I think he was hurt in the Thiago Santos fight. And I just really believe Yamblochovic is going to clip him. And he's going to be very smart about it because he's going to pick his shots. He's not going to rush in, get crazy wild, let Glover Teixeira get a double leg on him, take him down. He's going to keep that nice wide stance and just follow up with nice ground and pound shots. He's not going to go crazy like Thiago Santos, because the only way I see Glover Teixeira winning this fight is if Yamblochovic hurts him badly, goes for the finish and doesn't get it, gasses himself out, and Glover Teixeira is able to take over, because we know Glover Teixeira has crazy 5-round cardio. Even with incredible output on the ground, he can go 5 rounds. I think Glover Teixeira's strategy is going to be to come in, catch Yamblochovic moving in with some striking, take him down, hold him down, beat him up, eventually look for a submission or ground and pound. And I think, I know a lot of people are overlooking Glover Teixeira in this fight, and I know I'm picking Yamblochovic to win by second round TKO. But Glover Teixeira has a legitimate chance to win this fight. I think anybody overlooking him is absolutely crazy. I would say, I try to give you guys like a confidence level, how confident I am in my pick. I would say I'm about 60% Yamblochovic, 40% Glover Teixeira. I just think Glover Teixeira is so durable, even though he's been KO'd. I don't think he's going to be able to absorb the level of power that Yamblochovic has. But you never know. He absorbed the power from Thiago Santos and survived. So we could see Glover Teixeira survive that early onslaught. But even if he gets hurt, I think Yamblochovic could hurt him early and still win a decision. Because Yamblochovic, we've seen him in the Adesanya fight, 5-round cardio. We've seen him in the Jacare Souza fight, 5-round cardio. Both guys have 5-round cardio. I'd give Glover Teixeira the jiu-jitsu advantage. I give Glover Teixeira the wrestling advantage. We know Glover Teixeira wants to come out, take you down, and lay on you. But I just think Yamblochovic, it's not like he's one of these guys that comes out and slings super sloppy, wild, punches where Glover Teixeira can kind of duck under him and just shoot through him. Yamblochovic is a big guy. He's talking about eventually moving to heavyweight. He's a big guy. He's going to be able to stuff these takedowns. He has good wrestling. I don't think it's the level of Glover Teixeira, but I don't think there's that wide of a margin that Glover Teixeira is just going to be able to come out and just, easily take him down or anything like that. But if he does get him down, I'm curious what the jiu-jitsu difference is between the two, because Glover Teixeira is so good on the ground, has great submissions, has great ground and pound. I'm curious if Yamblochovic, maybe in the later rounds, maybe if Glover gets a 3rd-round takedown, if it goes that long, can Yamblochovic get him off of him and get up? I don't know. But really, I just think the striking and the power difference of Yamblochovic is the key to him winning this fight. I just think Glover sometimes, and I talked about this with Islam Makhachev a little bit too, Glover Teixeira has great takedowns, he has great wrestling, but when he moves in sometimes and tries to close the distance, it's a little bit sloppy and he leaves himself open and susceptible to punches and counters. And Yamblochovic, you can't make a mistake and get clipped on the chin by Yamblochovic. Otherwise, you are going to sleep. And I think Glover Teixeira is going to come out here. He's going to charge forward. He's going to look for the clinch, look for the takedowns. And Yamblochovic is going to be able to fend him off enough. Yamblochovic is going to use his footwork. He's not the fastest guy, moving around the cage, but he's very smart and methodical with his movement. And, he has very slick striking. I mean, he went out there and outstruck Adesanya. I know people talk about the takedowns and the wrestling from Yamblochovic in the Adesanya fight, but he outstruck Israel Adesanya on the feet. And that was partially because of the takedown threat from Yamblochovic. Adesanya wasn't able to let his hands go as much as he would have. But still, I mean, Yan has nasty body kicks. He ripped him on Dominic Reyes. He has nasty, heavy leg kicks, which I believe he will be using with Glover to negate some of that forward pressure. He'll be using teep kicks to the body as well to negate some of that pressure. And naturally, Glover Teixeira knows the type of power that Yamblochovic has. And that's going to, be in the back of his mind when he's rushing forward. And I just think, first round, Yamblochovic is going to be kind of feeling him out and making sure he doesn't get taken down. Also, kind of conserving his energy because he knows it's a 5-round fight. I think in the second round, Glover Teixeira is going to get a little bit more aggressive, start kind of pushing the pace a little bit more. And I think Yamblochovic is going to find that chin, brutally sleep Glover Teixeira. Maybe he won't have to follow up at all. I'm not too much on the super specific predictions, but I genuinely believe Glover Teixeira has just been hurt so many times. He's getting up there in age. He's going to be 42 by the time this fight rolls around. Damaged, hurt in many fights, knocked out in a few fights. And I don't think he's going to be able to withstand that power that Yamblochovic has. And, we'll see. I can't wait to see this fight. I love kind of, not that this is a total grappler versus striker matchup, but, I mean, we know what Glover Teixeira is going to come in and try to do. He's going to come in, try to take Yamblochovic to the ground, beat him up on the ground, submit him, or finish him via TKO, ground and pound. And we know what Yamblochovic wants to do. He wants to stuff the takedowns, avoid the clinch, and just look to land some heavy power punches on Glover Teixeira and put him down. And we have a lot to look forward to after this fight. I think there's a chance, if Glover Teixeira wins, or even if he loses, I think he may retire. But if not, the winner of this fight is most likely going to be fighting Jiri Prochazka. Jiri Prochazka is the backup for this fight. Jiri Prochazka is a fan favorite, even though he only has 2 fights within the UFC. He has brutal KOs over Volkan Ozdemir and Dominic Reyes. That spinning back elbow was absolutely insane. And, imagine a fight between Yamblochovic and Jiri Prochazka up next. I mean, I love that fight. The power of Yamblochovic, Jiri Prochazka trying to walk him down, with the wild style, hands low. We have a lot to look forward to. Or Jiri Prochazka trying to defend the takedowns of, now a new light heavyweight champion in Glover Teixeira. So there's so much to look forward to in the UFC light heavyweight division. I cannot wait for UFC 267. I am so excited for this fight card. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Are you guys picking Yamblochovic? Are you picking Glover Teixeira? Do not forget to like the video. I really appreciate it and it helps the channel grow. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.